All right, Mob, we got a great show for you tonight. You asked for it, and now you will get it. Coach Bo gives his SEC quarterback rankings here tonight. I am the Chad, part of the Killer Bees broadcasting team, along with the aforementioned the man, the myth, the legend, and the Coach Bo. Guys, once this is over with and Mr. Producer sets it on Facebook and YouTube, go ahead and give us a like, give us a comment too. Let us know what you think. Help us grow. This isn't just our community as the host and the talent over there. This is y'all's community too. We want to hear from you. So without further ado, guys, let's get into it. Bo, let's start with this top 16. We'll go in reverse order. 16
yeah,
to...
let me say one thing real quick before we get started. I'd like to welcome the newest member of the Division I football family, the North Dakota State Bison. As soon as I saw they joined the Division I ranks, I was like, heck yeah. So I got a shirt and I said, go Bison. Long history of winning, starting of really dominating the FCS level with Craig Bowl. And even after he left and went to Wyoming, they still won multiple championships. But good to see them coming into Division I. They are going to go into the Mountain West Conference, where they will be an instant player right away. So good for them, and we'll see what happens.
All right, well, let's start with this list. Top 16 quarterbacks. Way too early, I guess. What else are we going to talk about? Mardi Gras? I don't think so.
Nah,
all right, Bo.
You know, one thing I want to say about my list is, of course, you're going to hear me say this all the time, but just like college football, my list is fluid. I mean, it's right now, this is what my list looks like, but you know, by mid-season this year, it could easily change. So this is just kind of where I have the players ranked right now based on performance. And of course, they can go up or down the ladder based on how they play. So let's do it.
With mine, I had to add one because I had to take one out and add one because one got eligible. And I also swapped up a couple at the bottom, just a minor tweaking. So don't roast me if it's different from last show. All right, Bo, let's get 16 to 13. Your bottom four, who you got? 16 counting upwards.
Okay, so my number 16 player is a true freshman. He may end up being the best player in the conference for all we know, but he has never taken a snap in a college football game ever. So just by that, I'm putting Jared Curtis, the highly touted 5-star from Vanderbilt, as my number 16 player. Again, this guy could end up setting the world on fire, but we have watched true freshmen come in major college football and really struggle. So he may end up being the best quarterback in the conference, but for now, I'm going to put Jared Curtis at 16. At number 15, I'm going to put Arkansas's KJ Jackson. I know very little about him. He's taken very few snaps. Same with George McIntyre at Tennessee. Now, if Aguilar ends up getting eligible, which his case is still pending, I guess, he will be in my top three. My top three will change for sure. But for now, I'm going to put George McIntyre in that slot. And then just above him, Kenny Minchey from Kentucky. Again, none of these guys have taken snaps, and this is nothing personal. I don't have any vendetta against these guys. You could really put them in you could kind of interchange them in any order. But like I said, I put Curtis last because he's never even gone through a full season. Jackson, McIntyre, and Minchey, they've at least gone through a season where they've gone through the workouts. They've been through the practices, the film room. They've had a year to get bigger, faster, stronger. So that's my bottom four.
Okay. All right. My bottom four is similar to yours. I've got number 16, obviously, Jared Curtis from Vanderbilt. 15, Kenny Minchey, Kentucky. 14, KJ Jackson, Arkansas. And at 13, I raised him up a couple. Aaron Fallow from Florida. So that's my bottom four. All right, let's get into 12 through 9. Oh, who you got?
Okay, my number 12 is Aaron Fallow. There's a large part of me that thinks Fallow could really be a riser this year, very simply because he was handpicked by the new Florida offensive coordinator who came from Georgia Tech, who recruited Philo to Georgia Tech to come be the quarterback at Florida. So I think, when you find matches like that, they usually have a tendency to work. Next, I went with Austin Simmons going to Missouri. Last year, he was the starter at Ole Miss until he got hurt. And then when he got hurt, that's when a guy who we knew nothing about at the time would come in and would set the college football world on fire, Trinidad Chambliss. And while I'm a big believer that players don't lose starting jobs because of injury, you can lose a job because of an injury and because of the effectiveness of the other player. And I simply think that's what they happen there. I think Missouri's offense will be far better this year. They're going to be far better in the passing game. Next, I've got Keelan Russell at Alabama. I think he's another one that could be a very high riser. But again, we haven't seen much of Keelan. But I think he is a guy that is supremely talented. I believe he will be the starter at Alabama. I believe he has the most upside of the two quarterbacks that are going to be battling for that starting job this year. And I believe Keelan Russell, before it's all said and done, could be top 5 quarterback within the conference. And then my next one is Kamario Taylor from Mississippi State. Didn't see a lot of him last year. We saw him the last 4 games, but he's the highest rated quarterback recruit that's ever signed at Mississippi State in the history of the school. He played on a team that wasn't too terribly good last year, but he came in, they scored points, they moved the football up and down the field. And with him and Jeff Lebby, again, he was a true freshman. He wasn't a redshirt. He was a true freshman. I think Kamario Taylor could do some really good things at Mississippi State.
Yeah, I like him too. This will be the section where I think we are a little bit different, which is good because I hate having the exact same list as somebody else. My number 12, I have Kamario Taylor from Mississippi State. 11, Austin Simmons from Missouri. Well, the 10 that I had is no longer going to be a starter with Deuce Knight. So I had that moved Byron Brown to 10. And then I had Lenora Sellers at number 9. So that'll round up the bottom 8 of my list. Okay. Bo, 8 through 5. Who you got?
Okay. I've got Byron Brown at Auburn. I think, just basically he's swapping conferences. Yes, it's going to be a big step up going from the American Conference to the SEC. But I would imagine they'll be running the same offense. It'll be the same offense he's run the last couple of years, playing for the same head coach. So I like his fit there. Next, I have Lenora Sellers. In my opinion, Lenora Sellers was the biggest disappointment in the conference last year. But I think a lot of that had to do with the offense and the offensive coordinator, Mike Shula. Now, if Shane Beamer hits a home run and gets a competent offensive coordinator, South Carolina could be one of those teams this year that you see in that 9 to 10 win range that could be knocking on the playoff door. I mean, they've got an excellent receiver in Nick Harbor. He's an NFL player. I mean, he's about 6'5" and about 235, 240, clocked it running nearly 22 miles an hour. I mean, he's an absolute just freak of nature. They did well in the portal, did pretty well in recruiting, so we'll see how that goes. Next, Sam Leavitt going to LSU. Lane Kiffin has had a proven track record of developing quarterbacks. Some people are very high on Sam Leavitt. He was the number 1 player in the transfer portal. I don't know if I'm that high. I'm obviously not that high on Sam Leavitt. I think he is a very quality quarterback. Let's not forget he also has playoff experience. But also, this is the same Sam Leavitt that went to he was at Arizona State last year, took his Arizona State Sun Devils into Stark Vegas and got their tails handed to him by Mississippi, a 5-win Mississippi State team last year. So we'll see. But like I said, being paired up with Lane Kiffin and the way he runs his offense and run game first should be very good. And then next I have John Mateer from Oklahoma. I think the biggest problem they had last year was consistency. and a lot of their consistency hinged around the fact their offensive line was so young. I think they had a sophomore and two freshmen on their two true freshmen on their offensive line. So if they could just become a little bit more consistent, that Oklahoma offense can be really dynamic, because with Brent Venables, the defense is always going to be top notch.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to point this out, that the Bama Homer Bo has Keelan Russell lower than I do Scott or Brant Fonbaugh.
Yeah, I
So
mean, guys, I just, like I said, I just call it like I see it, and I just try to be as fair as possible. I try to remove that, from the equation as much as possible, because I mean, yeah, we're Bama fans, and there's time for that, for the I guess the homerism to come out. But when you're doing stuff like this, I mean, it's just best to be honest, and just how you genuinely feel. Now, like I said, I think if Keelan does what we think he can do with the offense that they should have this year, he'll finish the season probably in the top 5. And
yeah,
I believe that. And just like I also believe the Curtis kid, if he pans out with Clark Leah and Jerry Keel and that staff, he definitely won't finish last either. So this is just how we see it now, based on what we've seen so far, or at
right.
least that's the way I'm doing mine.
Yeah. And I mean, look, has Keelan Russell taken any important snaps in major
No,
college football? No.
ULM, when you're up 63-0 doesn't count.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, I could go out against ULM in those circumstances and probably complete a pass or two. I mean, with just given the circumstances and what's going on. And I'm not trying to degrade Keelan and what he did, but if you just watch him, he looks so natural and smooth in the pocket. I mean, the upside is there, and Kalen DeBoer they have to know that.
Yeah. And for me and the reason why I put him in the top 8 is because the upside. I mean, we don't
Mhm.
know. He could fall flat on his face next year, but I mean, I don't think he will. I mean, I think he'll have a good year. That's why I have him at number 8. Number 7 may be a surprise. I've got Marcel Reed at 7. I have Levitt at 6. And at 5, I have one you're probably way higher on than me. I got Aguilar from Tennessee. So with that being said, who is your top 4?
All right, my top 4, Chad. Let's see. Number 4 is Marcel Reed. I really like his dual threat ability. I like his ability, even with him being dual threat. He's a passer first. Yes, he was not as good down the stretch last year as he was in the beginning of the season. Also, too, you have to understand he's only played a full season's worth of games, because he about a season, maybe a season and a half. He's only had one season where he's been the starter from start to finish. Let's put it that way. So he came in midway through his freshman year and took over as a starter, and that was 2 years ago. And then this past year, he was able to get Texas A&M into the playoff. Now, yes, a lot of times there is a progression. He's got to be able to take that next step. Now, he got the first step. He got the team into the playoffs. The next step is not only to get the team into the playoffs, but to win a game or two or more. So we'll see if he can do that. In the third spot, I have Gunnar Stockton. I don't think anybody's improved in the last 2 seasons more than Gunnar Stockton, and I think he's in full control of that offense. He's really starting to develop much better as a passer, as just kind of a playmaker type guy at the quarterback position. Number 2 is Arch Manning. I think in the second half of the season, Arch Manning was probably the best quarterback in the SEC. And his ability to run on top of that, and then what he did in the bowl game against Michigan, I think really showcased what Texas really has to look forward to this year, with the weapons they've added, but hopefully for him that they've patched up some of the offensive line. And then my number 1 quarterback returning is Trinidad Chambliss. I don't want to say single-handedly, but the quarterback position is so important. But he almost had he had Ole Miss within 1 minute of going to the national championship game. And, you know, you watch him play, and it's just like the guy just won't. He makes all the right reads. He makes all the right plays. He knows, he understands where everybody is on the field. He doesn't get rushed. He's just silky smooth, works the pocket. He's one of those guys. He's a dual threat guy, but he's a passer first. And with him coming back now, I'm not a big Pete Golding guy. I don't know how the whole thing's going to work, but Trinidad Chambliss, in my opinion, is the best quarterback in the conference.
Yep, and mine will reflect that as well, because my original list did not have Trinidad on it, obviously, because at the time I don't think he was eligible to play. So all my top 5. So you're like, well, Chad, you got Aguilar at number 5. Well, he was 4 until my number 1 was eligible. So 4 now is John Mateer. I like him. I think he had an injury last year that kind of hindered him down the stretch. I think he'll be better. Number 3, Gunnar Stockton. 2, Arch Manning. 1, Trinidad. I don't think this is even close right here. I think Trinidad Chambliss is by far the number 1. And I know Arch has the last name, but he didn't play like Trinidad Chambliss did last year. That guy was a beast. And I agree with you. He did just about single-handedly get them to a national championship game last year.
Yeah, and if Aguilar ends up coming back, Aguilar will be in the 2 spot, and I would bump Arch down because Aguilar, I believe this would be either his 6th or 7th season. Now, and that makes a difference because you're talking about a guy that's like 23, 24 years old who's played a ton of snaps, number 1. Number 2, he also led the SEC in passing this past year. So you get a guy that has led, and I said this on another show, but you give me that kind of a passer with a head coach and a play caller like Josh Heupel to run the offense, and an actual legitimate competent defensive coordinator in Jim Knowles, and I've stated this previously, Tennessee will be about a touchdown better on defense. They're going to go from giving up, I think they gave up about 27 points a game this past year. They're going to be in that 20 to 22 range this year. You can write that down because that's what Jim Knowles does. That's what he's done everywhere he's been. You put those 2 things together, and Tennessee's a legitimate contender. I hate saying that, but again, I just, speak on what I see there. And Knowles is a top-notch guy. And this goes back a lot to what we've been talking about, Chad, about the SEC and where the SEC has faltered in coaching the last several years, because the SEC has always been about recruiting. It's who's the best recruiters, because you could get the players, you could keep the players, you could hoard your talent, and then develop them over a course of a couple of years. But you didn't have to develop them that much because, 2/3 to 75% of the if you just go and check that ESPN top 300 list, 2/3 to 75% of them are in the SEC states. So regionally, you're going to recruit those guys, and you can hang on to them. Well, now those guys, they sit there and they see 5-star, 4-star, 5-star in front of them. They're going to take off. So then one of them takes off, one of them doesn't work out, then the other one gets hurt. And that's where the coaching comes in. That's where you've got to be able to go and get a guy in the portal that's less talented and be able to plug those holes like that. And so I think you're starting to see that with the SEC, that the coaching has really been upgraded at Florida, at Auburn, at LSU, Tennessee. So we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Scott and Brant. Bottom 8, who do you see who could jump into that top 8? I did Aaron Follow was my example. And conversely, in your top 8, who do you see what could end up in the bottom 8?
Let me pull up the old handy dandy list here. In the bottom 8, let's see, the guy that I think could jump the most just based on my bottom 8, just based on pure talent, would be Keelan Russell. I just
there's the homer. There's the homer.
There's a little bit of homerism, but I also like I'm with you though. I also like Philo, and the reason I like him, and I said this a minute ago, he's handpicked to come to Florida, same offensive coordinator. He's going to be running the same offense, but with Keelan Russell, I mean, you're talking about he was either the number, like I think he was one of the top 3 quarterbacks in his class in the country. And like I said, the little bit we've seen of him, I mean, he just looks the part. I mean, just the way he moves, the quick release, the the stature in the pocket, climbing in the pocket, scanning the field, coming in as a freshman, being able to read coverage. I just think he's got so many intangibles that quarterbacks need, and a guy that I think could fall um, in that top 8. Lenora Sellers. And the reason I'm going with Sellers, I think Sellers, I'm going to sit on the fence here. Sellers has first round talent. He has first round talent. He's 6'4", 230 pounds, and he runs like 4.445. Okay. The guy is an absolute tank, with a Ferrari engine. Okay. But if last year is any indication of where he's going to go this year, if he doesn't, again, if they don't hit a home run with the offensive coordinator and they don't make vast improvements, and he continues to regress, then we look at that one season he had where they won 9 games and we go, that was the fluke, rather than last year where they didn't make a bowl game and say, no, that season was the fluke. This is the guy he really is. So I think this is a huge year for Lenore Sellers. He is my biggest question mark of he could go either way on that list. But I think all the raw talents there. We saw it that first season when they won 9 games. And for South Carolina's sake, and I hope that's the guy they see from 2 years ago, because he was something else to watch.
I agree. He was, he's just one of those quarterbacks that I hate Alabama playing because
Well,
he'll what
not only is he he's got a cannon for an arm, but he's a playmaker. When you think you got him, you don't really have him. He's so big and strong. I mean, he's got so many tools um, to use to his advantage. Mm, I really hope for his sake he gets a good offensive coordinator that uses his skill set properly. Because if so, South Carolina could be one of those teams that, like we talk about in the NFL, every year there's a team in the NFL that goes worst to first. Just about every year that goes worst first because of free agency, the draft. Well, I mean, the way modern college football is now, it's kind of the same way, because you can go in the portal, you can get players, you get an impact freshman or 2 coming in, you put them with some veterans, and then boom, you're off and gone. And South Carolina could be one of those teams that, I mean, they could easily go from the 4 wins they had this year to 10 wins in the playoffs. Just based on looking at their roster and looking who they have at quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Mob, let us know in the comments what you think of Bo's list. It's been much anticipated. I think it's been a couple of weeks now since we've got him on to, at least for this particular subject. And I know all of you guys have been wanting to know what his top 16 was. In the comments, guys, give us your top 4 and give us your bottom 4. What do you think of our list? A little bit different, but some of it was the same. And again, early, obviously this ain't going to be the list, come November, obviously, but a little fun. I guess mid-February now, as we're getting close to the start of spring practice, which should segue right into this next story we got. Alabama gets a Juco receiver, Tyler Henderson, Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. He was a first-team Juco All-American, 67 catches for nearly 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns, and he runs a 4.38 40-yard dash. Bo, what you got?
Yeah, on the surface, it looks like a good prospect. For those of you that are not familiar with the Gulf Coast down here, JUCO football in Mississippi is big. It's really big. And when I say big, I mean there's a lot of good talent that's come out of the JUCO. Just to give you an example, Stetson Bennett, two-time, national championship winner for the Georgia Bulldogs. He went to Jones JC, which is
Terrence Cody.
yeah. Terrence Cody went to JC, and
He actually went to
ironically enough,
Mississippi Gulf Coast.
the offensive coordinator at Gulf Coast coached with me at Baker, Chase Calcagney, um, and the quarterback from Baker, Josh Flowers, who went to Arkansas State, and no big twist of fate there, is also going to Mississippi Gulf Coast to play there. And Josh was a very highly touted guy. He originally committed to Mississippi State. Then Mike Leach passed away, and then just all that stuff just got messed up and discombobulated, and he ended up going to Arkansas State. But point is, Mississippi Gulf Coast has a very good program. They're one of the more of the winning programs in the JUCO ranks in Mississippi. 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns is nothing to sneeze at. You put a guy like that already has played college football, a guy that's a little bit older. You put him with the group we already have, and that receiver room looks pretty stout now.
Yeah, and I think with the new rules and stuff, I think he does have 6 years of eligibility left. I
Yeah,
believe
because now you can play 2 years of JUCO, and then you still have 4 years of eligibility.
and you may have more than that. Who knows? I mean, good God, look at TJ Finley. He's been in here for
So I mean, if he just sticks around for 3 years, he plays 5 years of college football. You would have to imagine that's a pretty good bit of production. You're talking about getting up into 22, 23 years of age at that point. And yes, that stuff does make a difference.
yeah.
I think that's a good get for Bama, especially because he's not going to have to come in and be the guy. He can come in and be a guy that comes in and finds a role in the program somewhere. Because, I mean, you got guys like Lottie Brooks coming back. Guys, I'm telling you, if you don't know Cedarian Morgan, the freshman, he will play. Derek Meadows, you talking about another big body, 6'5", 230-pound guy, 4.4 speed. These guys are going to be on the field. Then you can put a guy like that with that 4.3 speed, put him in the slot, move him around. Now you start to see how all this starts to fit together. And also the young man from NC State, I forget his name offhand, but if you just go and look at his numbers, again, another productive player. You put all those productive players together, it's hard to cover them all. That's the point. So you may say, well, he only had 5 or 6 touchdowns at NC State. Well, yeah, I mean, there was only probably one other receiver there, you consider like a real legitimate downfield kind of guy. But now, I mean, you put him on this Alabama team, and if Alabama comes out in 5 wide, who you going to cover? Where are you going to roll the coverage to? You can't, because it's the second you roll coverage to somebody else is going to burn you. And so that's just what it's all about. When you put a receiving core together like this, you're trying to see what job each one of them can do the best, and just get them to do it. You don't need, if you got a big 6'5", 230, 240-pound guy. Maybe he's not the fleetest of foot, but good gracious, you can get him to work the middle of the field. You get the other guys over the top. It's just putting all these pieces together.
Yeah, they do have him listed as 6 foot 175. So I don't know, they may want to bulk him up just a smidgen, a little bit more mass on his body. So yeah, I'm with you. I think this is a good one. A sub 4.4. I mean, kind of a veteran guy this would be his 3rd year, like in JUCO in college. He may be a return guy. He could also do that, which you always want as much as you can get at this point, with injuries and stuff. So I think it's a really good, like you said, a really good get. Bo, this was something you could stand. Is there anything you can't stand?
I can't stand the fact that Trinidad Chambliss was given a 6 year. That was one hell of a case of tonsillitis. I think that was the original filing. He had tonsillitis or something and had to miss one game or something early in the season. And I know we talk about it on the show. I'm just tired of all the, you know, 6th and 7th year guys. I mean, Bama's got a 7th year player. I mean, and it is nothing personal against these guys, nothing whatsoever. All they're doing is taking advantage of a system that is in place. That is all. I don't fault them for that. Point is, the system should not be that way. We all know that. Everybody knows it's a problem. The NCAA knows it's a problem. They're unwilling to do anything about it. So until they take my advice, they put my 12-man committee in charge with Nick Saban as the commissioner and put all these people in place that I put there and allow them to clean this up. Nothing is going to happen. And the funniest part of the whole thing is our country, I'm not trying to get political here, but our country is steaming toward a $40 trillion deficit. And people are wanting college football to go to Congress to get something fixed. Just wrap your brain around that. There are people out there who want Congress to fix this. A body with like a 15% approval rating that has given us nearly $40 trillion in debt. And they're not going to fix it. So college football is just going to have to bite the bullet and fix itself. Or, again, we've talked about it many times, it's just going to have to just blow up and burn itself to the ground, and then somebody's going to start over, have to come in and start it all over.
Yeah, I agree. It's ridiculous. I mean, I sent a story in the group. Some guy like got his 7th or 8th year of eligibility. It's like, what are we doing? This guy's almost 30 years old.
Yeah.
It seems
5 to play 4. It's that
yeah,
simple. And then once you're done, you're done. And just like the whole Bediako thing, he still had eligibility. And moreover, everybody's getting paid now. So what does it matter if he left Alabama, went to the G League, and came back? Everybody's getting paid. He got paid in the G League. Guys are getting paid at Duke. Guys are getting paid at Alabama. Guys are getting paid at Creighton and everywhere else to play basketball. What does it matter where he played? He still has eligibility left. Hell,
yeah, and
there are rosters all over college basketball that have European pros that were being paid overseas to play, and now they're being paid at their universities wherever they're at. It's like there's just so many exceptionalities now. It's just like just go ahead and do it, and then just wait and see. I don't know, because again, my simple argument would be for Bediako. Everybody's getting paid. He still has eligibility. What's the problem?
yeah.
So,
Well, that's probably going to do it, because that was my I can't stand it. Bo did mine and his.
I'm so sorry. I had no idea.
I was going to transition right into the Bediako thing, because I was going to say that I'll just go ahead and say it, because I've been stewing on this. I'm going to use Auburn as an example. I don't have a problem with this. I'm not trying to pick on Auburn, but when I looked up how many professional European guys are in NCAA, Auburn was listed at 1. So it's an in-state school. Okay. The system's broken when there's different rules for European players and American players. Okay. I don't believe Bediako was drafted. I have to check on that. I don't think he was drafted. And 2, he never played in a professional game. He never played for the NBA team. Okay. I know G League is minor league. It's not really professional. I mean, let's be honest. It's not like, it's like minor league baseball. It's not major league baseball. So he never played in one NBA game. If he can come back and redo his 2 years of eligibility, I'm at the point, just let him. If I'm Alabama, sue the NCAA. It's not like the NCAA is going to win. I mean, what have they won? They can't. They're a neutered program who can't really enforce jack squat. So
I just don't know how you can make the argument that it's okay for European pros to come over here and play, but it's not okay for somebody who actually never played in a pro game to play, even though he played in another league, but he still has eligibility. I don't know. I don't know what leg they would have to stand on. I mean, I don't even know what their argument would be. Everybody's getting paid. He still has eligibility. What's the issue? I mean, it's not like he went and played in the NBA, played some time in the NBA, and then came back. That would be
Yeah.
different. I would say absolutely not. I mean, I don't think he should be allowed to come back. Period. But my point is he can't come back, but European pros can come in and play. So
Yeah, that's the double standard that I've been kind of stewing over
yeah,
the
and
past
look,
couple of weeks.
I wouldn't care if it was Kansas that was going through this, or Iowa State, or Georgetown. It wouldn't matter. It's clearly there is more advantage for international players. The rules are slanted more for them than for American players. That's all I'm saying. So you could be an international player, go play pro ball for a couple of years, then come over, play college ball, and then go back and play European ball. I mean, and you come over when you're like 21 or 22, play for a couple of years, and then go back. And then
Yeah.
you're ahead of the game.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a college coach, you might as well use the European
Absolutely.
Pro League as a farm system.
Absolutely. I mean, look at Illinois. I think they've got like 3. I mean, good for them. I mean, they're and again, and I'm not accusing anybody of doing anything wrong. They are
No,
simply,
of course not.
they are simply using the system as set up to their advantage, as they should. All we're saying is the system sucks.
Yeah, that part of the system does when you got an actual guy who plays in the States,
Yeah.
has to have an injunction to play, but somebody from overseas can just come in and play. They need to either make it one way or the other. You don't need to have 2 different sets of rules just because they played
Yeah.
overseas.
'Cause
Makes zero sense.
It just seems like, and I say seems like, it's 100%. Nobody thought any of this through. They just kind of started just making it up as they went along, and hey, this sounds good, and let's do this and whatever. There was no and then and what if.
Yeah.
There was no how and why. I mean, it's and that's what's really hurting everything, because then there's there's going to be a next thing, and then a next thing, and the next. It's never going to stop. It's going to keep getting pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and who knows what's going to happen. I don't know. I don't have any answers. All I know is it's crazy, and if you're not taking advantage of all the rules as they are, then you're flat out going to get left behind. If you don't work the portal, you're going to get left behind. If you don't get older players, you're going to get left behind. If you don't bring international players in for basketball, you're going to get left behind. It's just that simple.
Yep. All right, Mob. Well, let us know what you think about these rules. Basketball, I know there's some basketball guys out there. Let us know what you think about the 2 different rules for, European versus American. Let us know what you think about the Trinidad Chamblises of the college football world. Should the NCAA, try a little bit harder to do, to kind of calm that down, and let's kind of get college football back to being college football. With that being said, guys, let us know. Leave a like, leave a comment on YouTube, and help us grow your community, because we do this for you guys. We like the banter, we like the back and forth. That's why we're here. We love hearing from different people. So with that being said, for the Coach Bo, I'm me, Chad Bullock, saying we will see you next time.